So just when you thought you might have gotten enough of your 2012 Mayesh Design Star, here I am again. But today we're bringing you all of the great experiences that we had on my great trip to Amsterdam with all the Mayesh team. So follow along through our pictures and our stories, and you can have our experience too. So I want to say a huge thank you to all of the people who viewed all the videos. I think to date we've had over 110,000 video views. So I hope you've learned something along the way. I have had a blast being the 2012 Mayesh Design Star. I wasn't really sure what I was getting into when I submitted that first video, but now that I'm 12 months later, I wouldn't change a single thing. Hi, I'm Mandy Majerik, a floral artist, and possibly your next Mayesh Design Star. I hope that you've picked up something through all the months. I've personally gotten to work with beautiful Mayesh Awesome Blossoms, which I would highly recommend. Anytime you need any premium blossoms, that's who you choose. They get delivered right to your door in premium mint condition. I mean, obviously ready for video, right? So I just want to say thanks to Pat and all the Mayesh team for all their support. Yvonne, who works tirelessly behind the scenes doing a lot of the social media, we had a big connection. And my personal, Laura London, one of my faves over there, who handles all my orders for Mayesh. It really is a reputable company, and I was so happy and proud to be their representative for the year. So once we landed, we really hit the ground running. And one of my favorite parts of the trip was when we took our little adventure, and I will say adventure, around the different growers. We went to cymbidium growers, Hydrangea Growers, one of my personal favorites, some Succulent Growers. So follow along in these pictures, and we'll talk a little bit about the process that we went through. We kind of drove out to the country and saw a greenhouse, several greenhouses, of all of these beautiful cymbidium orchids growing. And I think one of the things that we don't realize when we use these orchids is that every day someone is going through and putting a little hook on the top to make sure that those blooms grow straight. I mean, that's a person's job all the time, just to make sure that our orchids grow straight. I think it's those little things that we miss, and some of those little tips and tricks that I picked up when I was over there, just to really see the experience of how the flowers really are grown. Beautiful, just rows and rows of color. And here you can see that, you know, they haven't blossomed yet. They don't have any blooms on them. They haven't popped. And then you can see how the blooms have started to open. And literally, just as far as you can see, nothing but beautiful cymbidium orchids. And you can see how they actually clip them, and then they've packaged, and they get ready to be boxed up and shipped all across the world. Go through the Dutch Flower Auction, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And it's definitely an interesting experience to see. So after we visited the cymbidium farms, we took a little trip to the Hydrangea Growers. Hydrangeas are one of my favorite flowers, and to see all the different varieties, even varieties that I've never seen before here in the States, it's definitely a neat experience. So walk through with me here, and you'll see some cool varieties of hydrangeas that you might or might not have ever seen before. But I think the thing that amazed me the most about being in the hydrangea greenhouse is how tall the hydrangeas are before they cut them. You know, they get cut short to be shipped to us in affordable sizes and shipping prices, but to just see them to get 5, 6, 7 feet tall. There's even a few pictures where you see me standing in the hydrangeas, you know, and those aren't even the tallest ones. It was definitely a great thing to be among, and I mean, you just want to like take your clippers and run, you know. But it's definitely a great opportunity to see how these growers really do take care of these products, and how while we were there, the ladies were actually clipping and packaging all of these in buckets to take straight over to the Dutch auction house. And when we were there the next day, perhaps those were some of the same hydrangeas that we had just seen cut fresh the day before. So it's amazing to think that they can get cut here at the greenhouses right here in Holland, and then shipped, you know, into Mayesh, and then shipped to me in Alabama, and they get here with, you know, 24, 36 hours. So it's definitely neat to see where they come from. So after the hydrangea trip, we took a little visit to the Succulent Grower. Definitely varieties of succulents that I would love for all of you to be able to see. And I think the coolest thing about the succulents was that we saw them in such numbers, just rows and rows. And we saw how, you know, they would take a piece from this one and start to grow new ones. So little bitty baby ones all the way up to gigantic succulent and cactus. So you can see here we have a few little mini colorful ones, some of the cacti, and then you get on into the succulents. And like I said, just all versions, and just to see them all rode out. You know, I know Laura London loves some succulents, so it was even great to see her reaction to some of these varieties of succulents she had never seen before. So I know in some of the videos, you know, you saw me holding the succulents and using them in some of my work, and literally some of these are much larger, you know, than the palm of your hand. And just to see rows and rows, it was definitely fed a little inner child in me that loves a beautiful succulent. Now, I've been known to have a top 12 favorite things, and one of my top 12 favorite things is a boat ride. So what better to say than probably my favorite experience of all the growers was the Lilac Farm. And if you don't know anything about lilac grown in Holland, it's grown on a little island. So we had to take a boat ride, right? We had to take a boat ride.
Hey, it's Mandy coming to you live from the boat on the Mayesh tour of the Holland waters and the Lilac Farm. So I'm going to do a quick little pan around, let you see who all taking the tour with us today. What a great moment we're having here in Holland.
We were all on there all together. It was like a great family experience to go through the little tunnels and channels down among these islands where the lilac is grown, and then they bring it back into greenhouses and when it blooms and clip it and process it. And we just had a great time. You can see it was just a beautiful afternoon. It was sunny in Holland. We all have our sunglasses on. We look like we're having a great time because we are having a great time. But we had some great hosts over there that explained to us the process of how the lilac is grown, and that it is, you know, very much of a dying art form. That the gentleman that we had, his grandfather grew lilac, and there were even some of the lilac roots from way back when in his time. So it was interesting to see that this really is a livelihood of someone over there, and what a beautiful livelihood it is to be on the water and be able to experience this beautiful place all the time. So to wrap up our trip in Holland, we were able to stop by the IFTF show, and that really fed the inner designer in me. It's where all the growers come and show their new products, the new varieties of spray roses and things like that, and they kind of show off in their booth a little, and it was very inspiring to walk around, see new varieties, and also to see how they use their own product. And then a little tidbit, as we were walking out, they were actually having a design show. So I got to sit in a few minutes to listen to some of their designers. You know, and it was kind of funny, they even spoke English. They said, I think we have a few English people in the audience, so they spoke English for us so we can understand their tips and their tricks and their techniques they were promoting to their own industry there. So the earliest wake-up call I got, which I was most excited about, I'll admit, was when we got to go to the Dutch Flower Auction, the largest flower auction in the world. And let me tell you, I believe it. I believe it's the largest flower auction in the world. When we got there, and when I say early, like 5 a.m., getting on location, because we had to get there to watch all the action happen. We got there, and there were, walking through on the bridgeway, there were empty carts, and all of a sudden, we saw guys pulling the carts in, and they were filled with beautiful, fresh cut greens, beautiful flowers, ready to actually go through. They get on a little action track, and they're pulled through the actual auction, live auction itself, and the bidders can see the product on the bottom. They see it up on a big, large screen, and they listen to how much they're going for. And definitely a great experience for myself was to actually be able to sit in this room with all of these people and all of their computers, and it's so quiet. You could hear a pin drop in there. So it's so cool just to see how, they are buying for people all over the world. And I think Laura bought a few things while she was there. We had a great time sitting in the room, and there's my reaction, trying to be quiet, right? But we had a really good time being able to put the little headphones on and hear them speaking. Of course, I couldn't understand what they were saying, but we really had a great time listening and being a part of it. And nobody you walk through the door, it says no visitors allowed, but somehow we were able to sneak through and get in a hot spot and a hot seat to listen. So you can kind of see over here that we have a little bit of a video, and you can kind of see the fast pace of how it's just like they're all so integrated, and they all know exactly where they're going. And you think, how do these people not have a wreck on these little things? But they don't. They know exactly where they're going. You can see where they hook them up, and there's like 12 carts. One guy driving it around the whole auction house, and they get them lined up. And as they come through with the varieties that they are. And I mean, varieties we've never seen before. And they can buy them in different lots and different sizes. And it's just interesting to think that these are going to a Japanese market, or these are coming to the American market. So, believe it or not, the U.S. import from the Dutch auction house is very minimal. So I thought it was an interesting tidbit to see that a lot of it goes to Japan. So just to hear the history of the auction house and how it's become, one of the largest in the world was a very, very cool experience. So one of my favorite things, and I think one thing that you'll enjoy, is when we got to the auction house, we had to travel from point A to point B, and there was 2 ways to get there. You either rode on a little trolley tram, or, perfectly, in Amsterdam, you rode a bicycle. So I know all of you want to see Pat Dawson on a bicycle. So he hopped on and traveled through the flower auction on a bike. And this is just a little footage of them riding through the experience. And I'm not sure if you'll get to see coming up, but whoever gets to do that, just riding through. And this will show you the large capacity of what this building really is. Once the flowers are bought on the auction, then they actually get traveled all the way through the auction houses to the actual people who ship them out. So it's very, it works like a very well-oiled machine.
The biggest thing is trying to dodge these crazy little spikes in the road. Oh gosh, here we go.
Oh, and you can see that they just get a little jumbled right there all together. Quite going up that incline. Didn't quite know what to expect. And of course us, the lucky ones that were on the tram, we just got to wave a little bye, and they had to catch up with us in the end. But what a great experience it was to travel through and just see how flowers get to point A to point B, and then C and D, depending on where you are. So what a great experience I've had for the last 12 months being your design star. And now it's time to pass on the flower torch to one of my favorite gals, one of my favorite buddies, one of my partners in crime, Miss Jody Duncan, AIFD. I know she'll take great care of you, and you'll tune in every month to see her tips and tricks she has to bring to you. I know I definitely look forward to watching every one of them. So special thanks to a great heartfelt thanks to a once-in-a-lifetime experience provided to me by you and by Mayesh.
Hi, I'm Pat Dawson, president of Mayesh Wholesale. I'd like to thank Mandy Majerik, our design star for 2012, and thank her for a great season, and also to welcome Jody Duncan as our 2013 design star. We hope you'll be tuning in to our Design Star series in 2013 and really enjoyed the 2012 version. Thank you very much.